Welcome back everyone to Crypto and More. So today we're going to talk about that 600 EMA level for Bitcoin again. We did talk about it about 2 days ago. I did mention that the 600 EMA has been a critical level for Bitcoin in the past. As we see here, just a little brief uh, update or summary of what I was talking about in the previous video. That is, we were testing the 600 EMA around here on March of 2020, and we were testing it, and as soon as we broke below it, we dropped around 47% below that 600 EMA, and we lasted at least around 45 days, so we had a confirmed breakout above that 600 EMA. So about a month and a half we lasted. As once we broke below that 600 EMA, we did spend obviously quite a good amount of time. There was a second time where we broke below the 600 EMA. This time it wasn't so much of a major drop below it. This happened on the 22nd of November of 2019, and we started flirting with the 600 EMA, going above it and below it, above it again, below it, until we finally had a confirmed breakout above it, which lasted another 45 days, which is also similar to here. What lasted 45 days, just the drop wasn't as major. And then we had this other one that which is the reason why I don't want to compare it is because the time frames, it's completely different compared to what we're, you know, going through right now at the moment. But this was a 2018 bear market. This lasted 332 days. It was a 68% drop, and then when we touched the 600 EMA, and then we had another 48% drop on top of that after we broke below that 600 EMA. So the 600 EMA has been very, very critical. It's major resistance for Bitcoin. And I also mentioned that we do not want to spend more than a day or two below the 600 EMA, because as you can see here, we did end up going below the 600 EMA, but we didn't break below it for more than a day. We would either wick down or close the candle, and then the next candle would be green right above the 600 EMA. So these days that we did break below it, we weren't spending too much time under the 600 EMA, and we went up pretty much the next day. While the times that we did break below it and broke significantly below the 600 EMA, we were more than a day or two below it. So going back to where we are right now, we are more than 2 days below the 600 EMA, which is a pretty big warning sign for myself and for you guys as well. We need to keep a really close eye on Bitcoin, because there is a chance that if we keep going and staying under the 600 EMA, there's a big chance that we might drop even further. So there's two scenarios that I wanted to show you guys of what could happen. First scenario, and the one that I think is more likely to happen, is this one here, where it happened on the 22nd of November 2019. If you guys want to take a look at the charts, it only had about a 12% drop. And I say only because it's a lot better than a 47 or 50% drop of the other two times that I showed you. So it was a 12% drop. We've been here for about, we were spending this time about a month and a half, and we were flirting around that 600 EMA. The reason I feel like it's more likely going to happen like this one is because this scenario is also pretty similar. We were at 13,000, and then we had a 46% drop right right before we dropped even further, 12%, right at the 600 EMA. Where here we were at $69,000, we dropped 45%. It's very similar to here when we drop at 46%. And right below it, it's right now we're at around a 10% decrease. So it's a good chance that we might, because the drop is so similar in terms of percentage wise. The biggest difference is the time frame, where here it lasted 149 days and here we only lasted 72 days. So about half the time. So this drop was a little steeper, But the percentage is it's pretty identical. We dropped around 10%. If we do drop 12%, similar to how it happened last time, it would be around the $33,000, $32,000 level, which is something that a lot of people have been talking about, that we might be around the 32 to $35,000 range. But I do believe that because we haven't had a pretty significant pump, we might be spending here quite a bit amount of time flirting around that 600 EMA, similar to what happened obviously around this time in November, December. Um, so if we do spend 45 days, which is like the average, or the time that it lasted the other two times, that means that until we won't see a pretty nice, you know, confirmation breakout above the 600 EMA until around the 7th of March, or sometime in the month of March. It doesn't have to be exactly 45 days. It could be give or take, but either by the end of February or sometime in March, we might see finally a confirmed breakout above the 600 EMA. The second scenario that is a possibility that could happen is if Bitcoin actually has a pretty major drop below, closer to like that 50 or 35%, instead of the 12%. The reason why I do believe that is because if we actually look at the weekly chart, when Bitcoin actually broke below the 600 daily EMA on the chart, on the weekly, it came to test a 250 EMA quite a few times. So on the bear market, which was on the 2017 to 2018 bear market, it actually came and tested and was bouncing off that 250 EMA on the weekly chart of Bitcoin. It didn't break below it here, but we ended up obviously just flirting with it right above it, and then we just ended up going right above all the other EMAs, and started having that 2019 pump. Um, Here, this other time, we actually didn't go all the way down the second time to the 200 EMA. We were testing the 100, and we ended up going a little bit higher. And then that second time, we actually had a pretty nice wick below the 200 EMA, and then went above it. So 250 weekly EMA is actually pretty a major support as well for Bitcoin. So if we do come and test the 200 week EMA of Bitcoin, it's gonna be all the way down to the $21,000 level, which I don't think is going to happen. But maybe that 150 week EMA where it's around $29,000. If we do see a major drop, and if we do see a major drop all the way down there, that's gonna be about a 22% from the current prices. But if we do end up seeing that 50%, 45%, then we might end up going around that 200 EMA. I don't see this one to be as likely, but anything is possible. If we do see this drop, I think it's going to be a pretty quick drop. I don't think we're going to be spending so much time under here. It might be a bunch of people just getting liquidated, scare a bunch of newbies off the market. We're gonna have a quick pump up, and then start, the rally. It doesn't have to be we might not see $69,000, $70,000 right away, but at least this little area here, we might see it, pump up fairly quickly, because that is a pretty crazy drop, and we're gonna see the altcoins. If this happens, we're gonna see the altcoins really, really bleed. I was also checking the 2 weeks. And on 2 weeks, we are actually above currently the 50 EMA. I think this right now is holding up pretty well. We did wick below it, but like I mentioned, we just can't spend too much time under the daily 600 and the weekly 100 EMA, because if we do end up closing, this week below those levels, then there is a high probability that we're going to be spending quite a bit amount of time, like under the 600 EMA, and we might not see $40,000 ranges till after February or around March. But that's gonna be it for this video. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys did like the video or find the video informative, please like and subscribe. Write a comment, share the video. It really helps. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.